Olivia?
And McKisson, if you're on, can you hear Sean Murphy when he talks?
Try it again.
Try it again.
No, sir, it appears he's muted.
We heard him say Olivia.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Olivia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, is your election tomorrow?
No, it's on Friday.
Okay, this coming Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Sean. Go to stay still. All right, you ready?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're adapting to an alternate site as compared to where we currently are set.
Try that. Oh, got it marked.
Let me check if this is an improvement. Everyone hear me okay?
You're speaking.
Can everyone hear me okay now?
Yes.
Great.
Much better.
Good afternoon. I now call to order today's meeting of the ULM Presidential Search Committee. Welcome to all of you. As you know, the immediate circumstances are allowing us to hold our meeting via electronic means. I'd like to remind you that the content of the public portion of today's Zoom meeting, including chat, is being recorded and subject to public records request. So please keep that in mind as we conduct business. As we begin, Ms. Colley, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Dr. Jim Henderson,
Here.
Miss Lola Donahoe,
Present.
Miss Rachel Laudiger,
Here.
Miss Mildred Methvin,
Here.
Mr. Sean Murphy,
Here.
Dr. Janelle McDaniel,
Here.
Mr. Al Perkins, Miss Elizabeth Pierre,
Here.
Mr. Mark Romero,
Here.
Mr. Joe Salter,
Here.
Mr. Carl Aaron,
Here.
Miss Olivia Bailey,
Here.
Mr. Dennis Blunt,
Here.
Miss Sarah Bryce, Miss Alberta Green.
Here. Here.
Thank you, Miss Bryce. Miss Susan Hoffman,
Here.
Miss Hannah Livingston,
Here.
Mr. Jamie Mayo,
Here.
Mr. James Moore,
Here.
Mr. Jeremy Tenorello,
Here.
Dr. James Wright.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Erica.
You're
To
welcome.
the audience, be reminded that anyone who wishes to make a public comment on a particular agenda item must send a chat message to the moderator. In the message, please include your first name and last name, as well as the item number upon which you would like to comment. You'll be allowed to share your video audio at the appropriate time, or if you prefer, your comment can be read by our system staff members. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Thank you. I need a motion and a second to accept the certificate of inability to operate due to compliance with the directives of the governor, the CDC, and the local and state governing health authorities and officials.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Murphy, second by Ms. Donahoe. Erica, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Donahoe,
Yes.
Ms. Lotiger,
Yes.
Ms. Medvin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel,
Yes.
Ms. Pierre,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Mr. Salter.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Colley. At this point, I'll turn the meeting over to our committee chairman, Dr. Jim Henderson.
Sean, go ahead and mute yours. Just quick, push the back pad. Right here. Yes, sir. Right there.
Well, for our first, hang on a second. Apologize. We had a meeting this morning with to introduce Edwin Litoff to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic committee. And then Mr. Romero and Mr. Murphy joined me for some meetings this morning. So we are actually on the beautiful campus of ULM. Unfortunately, the three of us are incapable of working the technology appropriately. So I think we've got it just right just now. So thank you for your patience. Our first item of business is approval of the April 22nd, 2020 Search Committee meeting minutes. If you've had those minutes have been distributed to you, if I could have a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Murphy,
Second.
second by Mr. Speaker. Erica, take the roll call vote.
Ms. Donahoe,
Yes.
Ms. Lotiger,
Yes.
Erica, you're still muted.
I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. All righty. Ms. Donahoe? Yes. Ms. Lotiger,
Yes.
Ms. Medvin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel,
Yes.
Ms. Pierre,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Mr. Salter, Mr. Salter? Yes.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Motion passes.
Dr. Henderson, you're muted.
Oh my goodness. The return to normalcy cannot come anytime too soon. I apologize, folks. So members, if you'll recall at last month's meeting, it was decided that we would meet today to review applications and select candidates to interview for the position of the president of the University of Louisiana at Monroe. At that time, we also provided you with a list of 18 candidates for consideration. Please note that since that time, Ivy Taylor, the former mayor of San Antonio, has withdrawn her candidacy. She has accepted a position as president at another institution. I've spoken to the remaining candidates, and all 17 remain interested applicants who are committed to this process, and I'm very, very excited about that. All expressed an appreciation of the committee's thoughtfulness and an understanding of the change in the timeline. And to review, we are recommending the following candidates for your consideration today. Patrice Albert, who is the founder and principal of Third Eye Consulting Group, LLC. Ronald Berry, the Dean of the College of Business and Social Sciences at the University of Louisiana at Monroe. Stephen Condon, the Chancellor and Professor of Education at Piedmont International University. Joe DeLapp, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs and a tenured professor at Athens State University. Mara Gavini, the Executive Director of Massachusetts General Hospital. Maurice Gibson, the Vice Chancellor and formerly Chief Diversity Officer at Arkansas State University. Daniel Heimerman, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at the University of Texas in the Permian Basin. Timothy Holcomb, Associate Professor and Fellow, Farmer School of Business Interests at Miami University. Joby John, the Tom Galloway Endowed Professor of Marketing at University of Louisiana at Lafayette, and formerly the Dean and Professor of Marketing at ULM. Janine Kahn, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at University of Louisiana System. Julia Letlow, the Executive Assistant to the President for External Affairs and Community Outreach at University of Louisiana Monroe. Edward Markle, attorney and partner and general owner of Markle and Associates. James Marquardt, Special Assistant to the President and formerly Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Lamar University. Sherry McMahon, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Cal State University, Fullerton. Alberto Ruiz, the Vice President for Academic Affairs at University of Louisiana Monroe. Daniel Sniff, the Executive Director of Academic Partnerships and Academic Professor in the College of Environment and Design at the University of Georgia. And Kioma Rita Ugachukwu, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Cabrini University. That concludes the summary of the candidates, but because we have more information of a personal nature regarding the candidates, it will be necessary for us to convene an executive session consistent with state law. Do any members of the committee have questions at this time? Does anyone from the public have comments at this time?
Dr. Henderson, we have one public comment, Deborah Goldman, ULM faculty. And I think she will speak.
Wonderful. Dr. Goldman.
I would like to speak. I've spoken to the committee about the financial needs of ULM, and I've spoken about the needs of our faculty. I also would like to talk about our student body, because I think we have a rather unique student body. I would say that our next president needs to understand and be able to guide both traditional and non-traditional students. By traditional students, I mean those first-time freshmen, fresh out of high school, ready to continue their education. I also think about what I might call my reboot sophomores, ones who have gone off to school and maybe not concentrated too much on their academics, and either their parents have called them home or their finances have required them to come home. And then we also have recent college graduates who have come back to get another degree or to get a certificate. And I think that group has unique needs, but we also have a really large non-traditional student population, and I call those my workforce students. I also call them my students with families. They may have started at the university, but for whatever reason had to leave and go out into the workforce. And now they're looking to come back and advance their careers by getting a degree. Also those that completed a degree quite some time ago, but have realized that they want to get a different degree to give them more opportunities. And also those that are just went straight from high school and entered the workforce and then understand that if they want to advance in their careers, they need to get a degree. We have great promise with all of these students, so I want a candidate who understands how to work with all of them. Some of them are looking for that traditional college experience. You know, they want the whole package. They're the ones that are afraid we're going to be online in the fall. But we also have others that treat school like work. And at the end of the day, they go home to their families. And so we need somebody who can address those unique needs and understand those unique needs of all our students. Also, I want a president who understands that a lot of our students work at least 20 hours a week. A lot of our students don't come from affluent families. And even those first-time freshmen, in order to be able to get an education, they have to work to help pay for school and living expenses. And of course, a lot of our non-traditional students work full-time. And so we need somebody who understands that a lot of our student body is doing things other than just going to school. And a lot of them need to have support, particularly those who have families. They need daycare support and they need financial support. So my main reason for talking today is to talk about how many unique different types of students we have coming to ULM. I also want to talk about the fact that because of our general area, we have a lot of first generation students. We have those students whose parents had that dream that their kids would go to college. I can say my parents didn't have a dream I would go to college. They knew I'd go to college because they had gone to college. But we have a lot of students whose parents didn't go to college and they have that dream that their kids will go to college. And it's not just an extension of high school. It's that big step forward to change their earning capabilities and to move into adulthood. Also, we have a large international group of students. And I've seen recently, how the ones that stay in the United States are struggling and how we're worried about getting back the ones who did go home. Also, I'd like to point out that, yes, we want a president who understands diversity because our students are very diverse. They have to deal with the idea of very different race, color, nationality, gender, and religion, those Title VII categories. But we also have to think about age and physical ability and also gender identity issues. We also need a president who wants to work with our student athletes because they have that joy of competing in a college sport, but they also need to understand that the vast majority of them are going to have a career other than sports. Nothing frustrates me more to have a student athlete who won't focus on the fact that they also need a career. We also need that idea that our students get a clear path. They know they're going somewhere, especially because we have so many non-traditional students. They want to know this degree is going to lead me to something, and it's either a job or further education. So ultimately, we need a president who has the ability to work with a very diverse group of students, not just your traditional first-time freshmen. We want somebody who students can trust across disciplines and across programs that he or she will work in their best interest. And we want somebody who's going to seek input from those students, not just tell them what they need, but listen to what their needs are and help develop administrative ideas that will help them with that. And those are my comments.
Dr. Goldman, thank you very much. Erica, any further comments?
No other comments. Thank you.
Dr. Goldman, you just described a challenge that meets only 9 of our 9 institutions, and you described it very articulately, and we appreciate that very, very much. Incredibly valuable input. Let's see. Okay, at this time, I'd ask that the committee meet in executive session pursuant to revised statute 42, section 17, to discuss the personnel matters in association with this presidential search. While in executive session, the committee may meet with its staff, legal counsel, or other persons it deems necessary. No motions or other action may be taken while in executive session. May I have a motion and a second to go into executive session? Move by Mr. Murphy. Second by
Salter.
Speaker Salter.
Yes.
Thank you. Erica, if you would please call the roll for the roll call vote.
Ms. Donahoe?
Yes.
Ms. Lotiger?
Yes.
Ms. Petvin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel? Dr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Pierre?
Yes.
Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Erica. The committee will now meet in executive session. I apologize. Where are we? We will now adjourn to executive session, and Ann will help us do that very quickly, I'm sure. Thank you.
If any committee members are left in this meeting, please speak now and we'll make sure to get you over to the other room.
As we, folks in the audience, folks that are joining us online, we're returning from executive session. And would you be so kind as to let me know when all the committee members are back in?
Yes, sir. Dr. Henderson, all have left the breakout room.
They've left the background. Perfect. And Ann, thank you again for coordinating this in your exemplary way. You make it easy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, may I have a motion second to reconvene in open session? Moved by Mr. Murphy and second by Mr. Romero. Erica, if you would please call the roll.
Yes, Ms. Donahoe,
Yes.
Ms. Lotiger,
Yes.
Ms. Medvin,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel,
Yes.
Mr. Perkins,
Yes.
Ms. Pierre,
Yes.
Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Mr. Salter.
Yes.
It is unanimous.
Okay, thank you very much. The ULM Presidential Search Committee of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System met in executive session, discussed personnel matters related to the ULM presidential search. While in executive session, no motions were made nor were votes taken. We held a very thorough and thoughtful discussion about the candidates while in executive session. At this time, I'd like to open the floor and ask committee members to share any observations regarding the candidate pool.
Dr. Henderson, I'd like to say that we had a great group of candidates, very strong, and we had good deliberations, and I think we're going to come out with an excellent choice.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Other thoughts from committee members?
If I could, I would just note that a very diverse group of candidates, and I think if we're able to narrow the group, if we come down to a number smaller than the number that we went into executive session with, it'll be the narrowest of margins that anybody is left off of the list of folks that come to campus, which is interesting given a comment that was made in our previous meeting, and that was, I think sometimes the dark horse in interviews, has been the person that would seem to bubble to the top. I think when you get a list of folks with these types of credentials, it's a matter of true fit rather than qualification. So, and I think that's what we're probably going to get out of these in-person interviews.
It's a great observation, Mr. Blunt. Thank you for that.
I believe the discussions around the candidates in our executive session really centers and captures, I think, the stakeholders' interest in what they want for future president. The candidates bring rich background that will give some challenge for the committee to narrow it down, and certainly for the board to make a final choice. But I believe that's a good quality indicator that got us to the right decision.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Any other thoughts? Folks, at this time, I'd ask if any member has a motion regarding the candidates.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we move Doctors Albert, Berry, Heimerman, Holcomb, Kahn, Letlow, and McMahon to the semifinal division and set them up for campus interviews.
So we have a motion by Mr. Murphy,
I second the motion.
second from Ms. Pierre. So is there any discussion regarding the motion? The motion is to invite candidates Albert, Berry, Holcomb, Heimerman, Kahn, McMahon, and Letlow to campus for interviews. Erica, is there any discussion? Any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, Erica, would you mind, would you please conduct the roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Donahoe?
Yes.
Ms. Lautiger?
Yes.
Ms. Medvin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Pierre?
Yes.
Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Erica. Thank you, committee members. Please be reminded that according to the adjusted timeline that was approved at last month's meeting, the committee intends to interview the semifinalists on ULM's campus during the week of August 17th. In the interim, system staff will make arrangements for extensive background checks on each candidate and conduct reference checking. For any updates concerning the search, please visit the ULM Presidential Search webpage located on the system's website. As well, if you would like to provide comments to the committee, please send those to ULM Presidential Search at ulsystem.edu. And that link, of course, is available on the website. As many of you know, the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System recently appointed Dr. Edwin Litoff as the interim president of the University of Louisiana at Monroe effective June 1st. He'll continue in the interim position until the board names a new president for ULM. Dr. Litoff currently serves as the vice president for business and finance for the UL system, and he was here with me today to meet with President Bruno and others, and of course the COVID-19 response task force that is here at the university. And he has already started the transitionary work with Dr. Bruno. It took a lot for Dr. Bruno to come out of the pond with his fishing pole, but he managed to put on a tie, and it was great to see him on campus. And I appreciate his engagement in this transition. Is there any other business to come before the committee? If not, we'll need a motion and a second to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by the speaker, second by Lola Donahoe. Erica, can you call a roll call vote so we can adjourn?
Ms. Donahoe?
Yes.
Ms. Lautiger?
Yes.
Ms. Medvin? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Dr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Pierre?
Yes.
Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
It is unanimous.
Thank you all very, very much. Please stay safe, stay well, and God bless. We are adjourned.